So Mill Creek Entertainment's released an Ultraman vs. Red King collection featuring 16 episodes, and you're probably wondering, do I need this if I already have all of this? The answer might surprise you.
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome to my video on the Ultraman Battle Kaiju Series 01 Ultraman vs. Red King Blu-ray collection. This is a 16-episode collection of episodes featuring the monster Red King. It's part of the Ultraman Battle Kaiju series, which seemingly is a series of collections of episodes. However, we don't know what Series 2 will be or any of future volumes. Now, Mill Creek has released a ton of Ultraman stuff. I've covered every release on the channel in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, I've gone over the positives and the negatives, but for the most part, the Ultraman releases are a pretty good deal for the price you can get them at. This volume retails for about $15, and it gives you 16 episodes. This is from multiple series, all featuring Red King. First things first, I don't really like the cover. I think the use of the cover art here, which I believe was done for the Rise of Ultraman comic, I don't mind that. I just hate all of this. There is just too much text on the front. It's all really small, and it's hard to read. I think the spine looks fine with, the Battle Kaiju series logo up here. But the thing is, I think that, the use of Japanese is kind of neat. Here's a shot from Mega Monster Battle. But you see you got, Ultraman versus Red King, and then the Japanese version. Then you got like 16-episode collection, and that's just duplicated here. And then there's Behold the Fearsome Skull Monster, and then I assume that same thing in katakana. Then it says not rated English subtitles in the master audio, and then it says all that there. But then they also added all the copyright info on the front, which I think is just really ugly. And then also, in general, you've got kind of the English version here, and then it's got the Japanese katakana for the same thing. I think it's a neat aesthetic to have that. I get the kind of the way it looks is like a fight poster, like a boxing match, or a wrestling match. Like, here's your poster with all your info on it. I just think that, this block here with the copyright info should have been back here. Everything else, it's okay. But just everything here just usually is never on the cover of a Blu-ray, and I don't think it's super eye-grabbing. It's just a little bit overwhelming, I think, to a casual eye. But yeah, you got white spine here, there's a black spine there. Underneath, there's the full shot there and the full artwork. I like this. I would have probably preferred this with just that text in English, and then that could have been the main cover, and maybe this could be the interior. I don't know for sure. It's just, minor critiques at the end of the day, but yeah, I think there's just too much text on that cover. Opening it up, it is a 2-disc Blu-ray, which is interesting because we will talk about what that entails. And I like that it does list what the episode title is and what show it's from and what episode from the show it's on. Made it super easy to research stuff. So it's 2 discs, and in the back image here is Ultraman Rasa and Ultraman Blue fighting Red King from their episode. I imagine that was just a nice production still they had that fit the widescreen format. So it is a total of 16 episodes. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on one disc, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the other disc, plus a bonus. We'll go over the contents in a moment. But here we have probably the coolest thing about this release, which is the booklet. It's got the standard kind of Ultraman connection, collect the Ultraman Blu-rays thing, kind of usual cover. But inside, it has kind of this little blurb about, over the past 50-plus years, many of the monster aliens introduced in the Ultraman franchise become pop culture icons. And, this is the popularity of these characters led to the Battle Kaiju series new Blu-ray collection devoted to some of the greatest Ultraman foes. And then you get the history of Red King. It goes over, all the kind of designs that we have here, sort of the history of the character and everything, which I think is really cool. Plus a link to show you where you can find more information on the Mill Creek releases, but you can kind of see Ultraman Max there. But what's really cool is it's a complete history. So it says Red King would retain his golden skin in subsequent releases, with the exception of the 1993 American co-production Ultraman: The Ultimate Hero, which finally gave the world a Red King. That's part of the history, even though they don't have Ultraman: The Ultimate Hero currently licensed. So I think it's really cool that it is pretty in-depth that way, which is pretty nice and pretty cool. What's also interesting is it does mention Ultraman Taro episode 40, even though that is not one of the episodes on the collection, and I'm not exactly sure why they didn't include that, but that may have been just because it didn't have enough of a prominent role. And then it also mentioned that it would have a few scattered appearances into the 1990s, and starting with Max, the monster become a franchise regular, all the way up to 2022's Ultraman Decker. So I do really like the intention to bring forward the entire history, even if it's not entirely on the collection. Then we have a nice collection of images of the different Red Kings. This one looks like Ultraman and Red King are buddy-buddy for a photo. So you can see you got Red King 2, 3, the Armor Monster, and EX Red King. So even if, so it does mention, Ultraman, first appearance Ultraman, 80, Max, Never-Ending Odyssey. So it's got, relevant to that. And then it goes through the breakdown. So here's the episodes included. We've got Ultraman Episode 8, the Monster Anarchy Zone, and Episode 25, the Mysterious Comet Sufon. And both these episodes are exactly as they appear on the Ultraman Blu-ray set itself. So nothing too surprising. Same subtitles, same video quality. Because this is a Blu-ray, this is pretty much the same. So that's pretty cool. Because essentially it's just repacking those first two episodes. Then we have The Ultraman, Episode 27, The Island of Monsters, which you can see there has Red King in it. I'm trying to get a good angle there. There we go. So it does have Red King in that. That was the first Ultraman anime series, which was released by Mill Creek on DVD. So this is where this collection became interesting, because a lot of people were wondering, is the video presentation on here the same as on here? It is a little bit better. On the actual case, it does mention on the back here, video is high definition 1080p, standard definition 480i. I don't know if it mentions that on the slipcover at all. It doesn't, even though there's like a ton of text on here. It doesn't actually mention the resolution. So all of the episodes that would have been for shows that released on DVD are still 480i. However, the higher bit rate that is available on Blu-ray means it does look better. I think it's not like an HD remaster of the Ultraman, but much like standard definition on Blu-ray, which is a format that not many people use, this is standard definition video on Blu-ray. I don't see any problem with market confusion here. They put episodes on here that are in SD. So I'll throw up a couple images. I'm not doing like a full screen cap breakdown because I don't have a Blu-ray screen cap option available to me right now. But it does look about the same. However, there's one big difference in that the subtitles on the Ultraman's DVD set were left aligned, which I think was a mistake, and that has been corrected. So for episode 27, at least on this Blu-ray, you can watch them with center aligned subtitles as they should be. So if you're a The Ultraman fan and want at least one episode in a bit of higher quality with the subtitles properly centered, it's going to be worthwhile getting this set. Okay, so now we're going forward, Ultraman 80, episode 46. Similar to The Ultraman, 80 definitely does look better than it does on its DVD set. The subtitles are the exact same, but it's not going to be a huge revolutionary thing. It's not the HD remaster that does exist for 80 in Japan. It is simply the same, video file from here put onto a Blu-ray, therefore higher quality automatically, because there's just more space on a Blu-ray and a higher bitrate capacity. Then we have Ultraman Max episodes 5, 6, and 36. This is going to be interesting because I thought the Max DVDs, much like Mabius and Nexus, were really good. And yeah, the Blu-ray, this is still SD video on both, but the actual Blu-ray appearance of it, not too much different. It's a little bit, better on the bit rate, but it's not something you're going to notice noticeably. So if you're a big Ultraman Max fan wondering if you get 3 episodes at higher quality, it's ultimately negligible. This is still a good DVD set. And the same thing goes for episode 42 of Mabius. Here's a, quick comparison as well. It's still, that one effects shot with Zophie is still really fuzzy, even on the Blu-ray, because it is 480 video on a 1080p disc. So it's a little bit better, but not enough to say, you have to buy this. But I will say that in the case of the Ultraman having the corrected subtitles, that does make it a little bit worth it in that. Continuing forward here, the Ultra Galaxy Mega Monster Battle and episode 1, the Monster Anarchy Planet, and Never-Ending Odyssey episode 10, 12, and 13, which introduces EX Red King, same as it appeared on the Mega Monster Battle set. So if you've got this set, you've got these 3 episodes exactly the same. Same goes for Ultraman Ginga. Episode 9, the Stolen Ginga Spark is here. Ginga it's the exact same. Unfortunately, as I mentioned in the Ginga video, they did not sub the Sparkdoll Theater segments, even though subs existed for those on Crunchyroll. They just aren't on here. And unfortunately, on the Ultraman vs. Red King set, that has not been corrected, which is kind of a bummer, because I thought, with them correcting the subtitle alignment with the Ultraman, which may not have been, even intentional, it just been an accident that the whole disc was center aligned, so it just brought it with it. But yeah, they didn't, unfortunately, fix the Ginga. And same thing for Ginga S, Episode 1, The Power to Open the Way. That is also exactly the same, no Sparkdoll Theater. Ultraman X, Episode 20, Wataru's Romance, same as it was on the Ultraman X set. And of course, Ultraman Rube, Episode 4, Winning Ball of Light, same as it was on the Rube set. Now, the booklet doesn't mention it, but it does include Ultraman's first appearance, as well as Red King's first appearance, as a bonus feature on Disc 1, which is the Birth of Ultraman TV special. It's nice to see that, because previously it was only available on the deep discount exclusive Birth of Ultraman Blu-ray, which was a collection that collected, Ultraman with selected episodes from the dub of Ultraman, plus the Birth of Ultraman TV special. So, if you did not have this disc, which had that TV special on it, the Ultraman vs. Red King set is good for that. So here's the question. If you have all these previous releases, if you got this too, do you need to buy this? Not really. It is nice to get properly aligned subtitles for the Ultraman. It's also nice to have all the Red King episodes in one go. Like, if you're kind of an Ultraman fan that's watched all the episodes and you're like, you know what, I want to watch all the Red King episodes. It's not all the Red King episodes, right? Like, there's some missing for the shows they haven't licensed, but this is 16 of them. You can have just like a Red King evening with either one of these discs, which is nice. I do say the biggest benefit, though, is this booklet. The history of Red King here is really cool. It's nice to have, and if this series continues and we get, like, sets for Gomora or Baltan, etc., it will be kind of neat to have this series of booklets going over the history of Kaiju, and then having this collection of Blu-rays where you get, well, a good chunk of episodes. So it's not a massive upgrade to what we already have. It does make for a nice additional inclusion, and it's usually 15 bucks or less anywhere you look, so it's not a bad release overall. It is a bit redundant, and it would have been nice to have seen maybe some upgrades to the episodes. It would have been nice to see at least the Ginga, Sparkdoll Theater have the subs, but then it would have been like, well, why can't we get the rest of Ginga, fully subbed? So it's just one of those things where, it's not a massive improvement on the video quality for the SD shows, but it is a little bit better, and yeah, at the end of the day, if you're an Ultraman fan, you can't really go wrong with this if you want to have a little booklet on Red King and have all the episodes in one place. And I will say it is definitely a better value than picking up this Birth of Ultraman set, because this just includes original Ultraman dubbed. This gives you a sample from across the series. And I guess on that point, if you watched my Ultraman viewing guide on how to watch Ultraman last week, and you want to kind of get a feel for a group of series, this is a good way to pick it up, because you get a little bit sampling of every era of Ultraman, and that's not a bad way to start either. So on that note, I do recommend it. Take a look around your retailers, see if you do want it. If you feel it's totally redundant, though, and you don't really need the booklet, you can skip it on by. It's pretty easy to skip. We don't know what the next Mill Creek Ultraman release is, but you want to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out. I will be reviewing the ultra-controversial Shin Ultraman Cleopatra Entertainment Blu-ray probably next week, because Amazon still hasn't shipped mine. So stay tuned. There's plenty more Ultraman videos on the channel if you haven't checked them out already. Hit the like button while you're down there and leave me a comment. Tell me which Kaiju you want to see have a collection. I want to see a Baltan collection. I don't know exactly how they pull it off, because he's less frequent than some others, but I would like to see something with Baltan, because I love Baltan. And on that note, follow me on social media at Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Soundout12 while those are still applicable. Check out my live streams here on the YouTube channel Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about Ultraman news and more. And also check out my awesome graphic designer on Twitter at DarkClaw643. You can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for Ultraman interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying goodbye.